We're back live at the Subnation stage. We're live from Los Angeles. It's E3. It's day 2, and I am Machine, joined by the lovely Ateyo. This is a company that's taken the fashion esports world by storm. I was gonna throw a date on it, but I feel like it's probably best that you do that. Since Rachel and Breanne,
hi,
fill
we're
us
so
in.
happy to be here.
So we've been live just over a year
It's
now.
a year now?
It's been a full adventure, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So a year in the running, Ateyo, it's ateyo.com if you're interested in checking it out. You guys I mean, this is an interesting story. This is fashion students, pursuing the world of fashion, and then esports catches your eye. Can we start there? I mean, Breanne, do you want to take us through how that initially happened? Where did esports get on your radar?
Yeah.
How did this happen?
We met at Parsons, going to school together, and fell in love with fashion, fell in love with working together, always wanted to do something exciting. We were living in New York at the time, do New York Fashion Week, the traditional kind of fashion path, and we started going to Flushing's Queens, and we fell in love with gaming cafes and the whole entire kind of local scene. And we just knew we had to be a part of it. We left fashion behind, and it's kind of been gaming ever since.
And I've never asked you this, and I know you. Ateyo, when did this name come from? Have I ever?
So we wanted a name that we could kind of own the name whenever someone said it.
Yeah.
And I would say it was a perfect kind of storm of brainstorming. We kind of sat in our apartment for 3 weeks.
Sure.
Just screaming names at each other. And it's actually an acronym that we haven't yet released, but Breanne came up with the name Ateyo, and Ateyo.com was not available. And then I came up with Ateyo, so it's kind of a perfect
storm.
Yeah.
It's an acronym.
Yeah, you're welcome to guess.
Okay. Awesome. T-shirts, that's one word. Eccentric. I was going to say universal, that's awkward. Let me try again. I've lost it. I have no idea.
You were so close.
Was I close? No. Okay.
I don't even know if one letter was correct.
No, but let's talk about Ateyo instead of me just humiliating myself. This has been a very recent project in terms of the esports landscape, and you truly have taken it by storm. I mean, I remember the first glimpse of Ateyo, and now Ateyo is a very big part of Overwatch League. You've got Overwatch players hanging out and wearing Ateyo every day. An LCS discussion to be had, I think. Do you want to talk about this?
Last weekend, we became the first and only outside brand available at the fan shop at Riot Games.
I mean, I imagine that's a huge announcement. That's a lot. That's months of work culminating in you being able to talk about this.
Yeah, and we are really big fans of LCS, so it was so fun. We've been going as fans for such a long time. To see our clothing living in the store is a dream come true.
Yeah, and let's talk about fashion and games, because there is an interesting conversation to be had. It wasn't that long ago that if I said I play video games, most people would assume that I live in a basement and don't look after myself and don't wear nice clothes. Like, I mean, there was a negative stigma, and probably still is in some circles, surrounding gamers. And so my question to you is, you guys are designing fashionable, comfortable clothing for, in the esports gaming space. How did that all come to be?
I mean, we really believe that you can be comfortable and you can kind of live a gaming lifestyle, but you can also look good while doing it, and that both of those things can exist. So we want to design cool, comfortable clothing that you can wear while playing games, then you can wear out to the convention, you can wear to see your friends, and it doesn't have to be just one of each world.
Fantastic. I actually can't hear a word you're saying, so I'm just nodding and smiling. I don't know, is there a DJ over there or something? Very difficult. I'm just going to edge closer. Let's do that so we can get more intimate and I can actually respond to what you're saying. So I'm sorry, Breanne, I hate to ask you to repeat yourself because the guys at home have totally heard it already.
Yeah, I mean, we just believe that we can design really cool and comfortable clothing so you can do both at the same time, and that those worlds don't have to exist separately.
Did you have any of your kind of predispositions, expectations for gaming broken when you first stepped into the space? Like, I mean, were you surprised by how many totally cool leather jacket wearing video game players there were? Because there's a lot of cool dudes out there.
I think that we didn't really approach it with like reputations or kind of stereotypes. I think what we really felt was we could design clothing that was designed to game in. And I think when we said that about 2 years ago, everyone was like, that's crazy, like, you're wrong, no, no, no. And now I think a year after being live, we've really proven that like you can design a long sleeve that a pro player will play in for 12 hours.
And your sitters, by the way?
Not joggers,
I mean,
sitters.
I just can't stop sitting in sitter. They are the gaming pants, for sure. You've nailed it. You really did.
They're sitters.
Yeah. I mean, but this must have been a very interesting kind of challenge for you to go, okay, what do gamers need in clothing? Because I mean, there's no examples of that out there.
I mean, it's been so interesting. Clothes since the beginning of time have been designed to stand up in. So what does it really mean to make a pair of pants to sit down? So from a design perspective, that's such a fun challenge for us to kind of try and figure out. And I think there's only more kind of innovation that can come. We've only just kind of started.
You feel like there's a lot more to come from Ateyo in terms of
totally
gaming, clothes to play games in.
Yeah, I think there's really interesting things you can do beyond just like technical details in clothing with like wearable tech, and how are we designing kind of pro players or fans for like an optimal experience, and what does that look like?
Interesting. Okay. And the games that we'll see you most in at the moment, we've got
so
it's
we're
Overwatch.
Pretty active, I guess, in Overwatch, League of Legends, Dota, and we've done just barely a few things in CS:GO, and we have quite a few streamers that we work with that are either kind of variety streamers or parallel to gaming kind of content creators. So we did a really fun activation with Sushi Dragon. I'm not sure if you're aware of who that is, but he live edits music and dancing performances. I think
Brilliant.
This is kind of a very controversial thing to say. I will confidently say he is the best content creator on Twitch.
There you
and
go.
he did a virtual
She's not wrong.
fashion show for 8.5 hours.
Wow.
And it was very special.
I mean, speaking of music, you guys did a music video recently. It has to be talked about because, I mean, it was obviously very well received. You guys, how was making your, I assume, first music video? How did that go?
We've actually done a few music videos, but this was
more than
our
one.
biggest undertaking. We did a Thank You Games parody of Thank You Next. And we got all the women in gaming and esports to come together and kind of collaborate and meet each other and kind of do this project. And it was incredibly fun and inspiring and rewarding. And we're really happy with how everything all turned out.
And I think it's really fun to see kind of the content, how it exists now. But that day, like, I went to bed and I was like, separate from owning the business, it was like, wow, something really magical happened, and your like soul felt so
Rich.
nourished. Yeah. So like Sue, so Smix was watching Ovalie, and she like started her like she was like, the hairs on my arm are standing up. Like when I started, I was always the only woman on the desk, and like to watch Ovalie, who like just graduated college and is hosting the LCS, and she always looked up to Smix. So it was kind of like this full circle of something pretty special, and we wanted to highlight. There's a lot of narratives about women in gaming, but we wanted to highlight women that have worked really hard and are big parts of the industry and kind of all the things they've done.
And women in gaming, I mean, that video was in promotion of and in announcement of your first clothing line for the females of gaming.
So we took kind of the technical details we're known for, our fabric, our sitters, our oversized hood, and we made it formatted to fit females' bodies. And it's been great. We live in the product ourselves. This is the tank top here.
Right there in person.
And it's been really fun, and it was really nice to be able to create a dedicated line for women.
And you know, what lessons have you learned while talking to all these, you know, wonderful figureheads of gaming and women in gaming? Was there any lessons and takeaways?
Oh my goodness, so many. One of the biggest one is that all of the women are just working so hard, and they have 10 different side projects going, and this podcast and this newsletter, and it's kind of so inspiring to see how much they're contributing into the industry and really the progression that they're making.
Fantastic. Rachel, Breanne, Ateyo.com, women's wear is out now. Anything else I should be getting excited about / promoting?
I think that's everything for now.
You heard it here, Ateyo.com, be sure to check it out. I can vouch entirely for their sitters. best pants. I'm doing in the Americanism. That's right, I did it. Best pants I've ever
Sitters.
played games in. They
Best
really are.
sitters.
That's a good
Sitters.
endorsement.
Not pants. Anyway, it's been an absolute honor. Breanne and Rachel from Ateyo.com. We are going to go ahead and take a break, and we'll see you soon.